Welcome back, everybody. Super glad to be joined by friend of the show, Coach Mike Dunham, head coach of the Pinkerton Astros, the boys basketball team over there. Coach, thanks so much for joining me again.
Yeah, Drew, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So let's just start off. To be very frank, you guys had a great run. Last year was a little bit of a disappointing season. You had a lot of close losses last year. And then this season, you guys have been really, really good, 11-2 to this point, and looking to be one of those top playoff teams come the playoffs coming up in a few weeks. So just what's gone into this turnaround?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the kids put in the work over the offseason. They're really getting better and better as the year's going. We go by our guards, right? Josh Venor and Wilson Yusuf have been really, really good for us. Wilson Yusuf has been in the program for 4 years. He started out on the freshman team. So really seeing him come up through the program has really been great to see. And now being one of the leading scorers in the state and being a team leader, he's been really phenomenal. We have three scorers, I think, in the top 10 now in the state in Division I. So it's really, those three: Brady Sullivan, Josh Venor, and Wilson Yusuf.
Yeah, so a young group that you guys have gotten the chance to build with. Looking across the division, is there anything that you've seen in the division this year that kind of jumps out at you that might be similar or different from other years in terms of the traits that teams really have that are really strong?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every night in Division I, anyone can be beat. When we won a state title, we lost to Dover that year. At the end of the day, this is high school basketball. The state's very strong. Portsmouth's obviously really, really, really good this year.
Oh, yeah.
They've been on a tear. Bedford's really good. A lot of teams that have multiple players that has been really, really, really good to see for the state of New Hampshire, really. And hopefully kids start staying here and all that good stuff.
Okay, so is there any big games that you guys have had that were tight that you were like, man, if we can pull this off, and you won the game in the end that you felt like were really big program building wins for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Exeter win was a great win for us. That was on Tuesday night. Coach Holmes is such a great coach. And so anytime you can beat Exeter. Weeks ago, I think they were 7-2 at the time. We were 7-2 at the time. And, the new coach there is doing an unbelievable job, Sam Bonnie Lyles. And going in there and winning that game at Alvern is always a tough place to play. So I think that win kind of set us up a little bit, gave us a lot more confidence. And then going to Keene and winning at Keene's always hard. And Ray Boulay does a good job over there. And I think those two wins, and then honestly, what got us going too was losing to BG. BG's a phenomenal team. They got some great talent over there, and we were up 12 at one point. They came back. Kudos to them. But that kind of let us, during practice, really get into the guys and say, we really got to focus on the defensive end, and they've done that in the past couple games.
Yeah, looking here, I know you guys start out 5-0. You had that one loss at Bedford, and they're ridiculously good. They're well coached. They're no joke. The win at Winnicott, like you were saying, the loss to BG. But then you go on the road. You win those 4 road games, and then recently you've defeated Exeter. So when you have a road stretch like that, do you think the road stretch is really the primary driver of what built confidence as you kept stacking those wins?
Yeah, maybe. I think the way they've been preparing lately is really why we're winning. Practices have been really, really good the last couple of weeks. And these kids are bought in, which is awesome. They're bought into, right now we're playing some zone, playing some man, changing things up a lot, which is fun. And the style of play we're playing right now, I think as a player is really fun. We're playing a run and gun pace. There's no such thing as a really bad shot. If an open shot presents itself, my guys are just playing with ultra confidence right now, and it's really set by our senior leadership.
Tonight, you guys got Trinity. By the time this is released, that might be tomorrow night. So we'll see when this actually gets released. But in terms of the Trinity game, what are you expecting to see from them, and what do you guys need to do well to win tonight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really fast-paced game. They like to play fast. I've watched a lot of film on them. They like to play fast. They like to trap everywhere, and we like to as well. I think tonight's going to be a great New Hampshire basketball game between two very good teams. And, they're guard heavy. We're guard heavy. I'm super impressed by my front court and the way they're developing. Adam Oju's 6'5" center, and Elliot Ingraham, another 6'5" center. They've been going in and out and playing off of each other really, really well, and playing, blocking shots, rebounding, making layups. They've been kind of a backbone. And then, tonight might not be a great game for them just because, Trinity's so fast and so athletic. So I think it's going to be really interesting tonight. I think this could be a big Brady Spellman night. Brady Spellman was on the football team. He's tough. He's athletic. He's playing great for us right now. And I'm super excited about tonight. I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere here at Pinkerton. The fans are starting to come out. Now that we're 11-2, they're starting to come back, and there's nothing better than a pack hackler. So
I know it can be really challenging when you have a season like you guys had last year, and you have kind of you're always going to have some of those fans who just look at the record and don't always watch the play and watch how tight a lot of those games were. But getting those guys back is definitely going to be really great for you guys. I remember I was at the game couple of years ago when you guys played Bedford at home, and that place was absolutely packed. And
I've been coming to Pinkerton games since I was 5 years old, and I don't think I've ever seen the Hackler that packed. So looking up and seeing all the fans there, and thinking about all my predecessors, like, wow, this is why you coach, this is why you play. That was awesome. I'm hoping to get back to that level. And back then we had a special player in Jackson Marshall. And everyone wanted to come out and see him. So I think we're getting back to that level. And, we have a sophomore right now, Josh Fenor, who is really, really, really good. I think he's worth the price of admission, even though Pinkerton doesn't charge admission to get into their games. But I think he's really, really fun to watch. And our brand of basketball right now is really fun to watch as well.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't seen you guys in person, but I've seen some of the highlights. So that should be fun. You also got Spalding, Merrimack, some home games. Then you're at Portsmouth, which is going to be a huge game, second to last game of the season. Anything on those three games, and then finally you wrap up with Dover at home. Any on those final four games after tonight that you?
Yeah, I mean, I say this a lot, but one game at a time, right? We play Trinity. We're not looking ahead. I haven't watched any film on Spalding yet, who we have on Tuesday. But that'll be the weekend. I'm sure my wife's going to love that. I think like I said earlier, anytime you take the floor in Division I, you can be beat, and I think that's the pride I take in it. We're not overlooking anybody. And then when I feel like the kids are looking over somebody, I remind them that we won 5 games last year. They have that constant reminder by me, because again, I was a part of it too. And I remember only winning 5 games last year. So, some extra film, some extra practice sessions, some extra stuff that we're doing in practice is really preparing us for the games. And again, these kids are really fun to be around. They have a lot of fun. They play extremely hard. And again, they all come to so I have a homeroom here at Pinkerton. That most of them come to my homeroom and hang out during the day. So it's really a tight knit group. It's really fun to be around.
That's awesome. I think when you have that culture amongst your guys and they're all like in it together and their friends also off the court, that's huge with team chemistry.
100%.
The other thing when you're looking at these games is kind of, what is your goal? What's your philosophy as a coach? Because I know, like, obviously everybody's like, well, the goal is to win a state championship every year, but like when you look at a guy like, for example, one of the greatest coaches of all time, Nick Saban, he used to always talk about, our goal isn't to win this game or that game. Our goal is to achieve a process, and we're always trying to get it right and make the right play in the right situation, even if we're up 30 or 40 points in the national championship. For you guys, what does that look like for you? What product do you want to put out there on the floor? What looks like success for Pinkerton basketball, would you say?
Yeah, honestly, it's just the kids working hard. Every game, before every game, we put keys to the game, and the last one's always compete and then play Astro basketball. I think if the kids are competing, the offense comes naturally. And again, if they're just working their hardest, we use the Billy Donovan quote, 95%. 95% of the game of basketball is played without the basketball. So, we use that, daily. And again, what can you do without the ball? That's not going to get you the highlights. but what can you do to impact winning, right? So whatever they can do to impact winning, whether that's rebounding, taking a charge, playing hard defense, making that extra pass, that 95% of the game. If we do that well, I think the rest will take care of itself.
Okay. That's a great response.
Thank you.
When you look at the standings now, you got Portsmouth still undefeated there, leading the way. You're right there with Bedford, both teams 11-2. I know they won against you guys, so they have a little bit of an advantage there, maybe with the tiebreaker. I don't know exactly how it breaks down, but I would imagine they would.
Yeah.
And then they've lost a couple as of late. So, you're in contention for one of those top 4 seeds up there. You got BG 10-3 behind them, and Trinity, who you guys are playing tonight, who's currently the 5th seed at 9-3 right now. So with those top 4 slots, I would imagine you would like to get into one of those and try and get yourself some home games. Obviously, you got to do it one game at a time, and you can't look too far ahead. But I think the goal for most teams is, can we get into the top 4 and get ourselves to have home court to the Final Four potentially? So what's your response to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, going into the season, we have one goal, and that's to get to Durham. Because then once you get to Durham, anything can happen, right? I think, getting a top 4 seed would be awesome. It would be great for the kids, especially from where we were last year and the type of locker room we had last year to where it is this year. I think it would be great for my kids. At the end of the day, once the playoffs start, it's anyone can win, right? It's one game. It's, 32 minutes of a basketball game. And if you win, you win. If not, you go home. So I think, the playoffs it's a whole new season. It's a whole new dynamic of pressure. And again, I think as long as the kids are loose and they're playing hard, I really don't care what seed we are, whether it's 7-1, I think that's, once you get the playoffs, it is what it is. So especially, like I said, in Division I, anyone can win. So.
All right. You still got about 3 or so weeks left in the regular season, it looks like. I know that I've talked to a lot of D3 coaches, and they've said, hey, we have a lot of depth 1 through 10 in our division. And they're all like, man, that quarterfinal is going to be an absolute war. Obviously, we still have plenty of games to go for you guys in D1. So we don't know exactly how that's all going to break down. But what are you expecting is going to happen in this particular playoff bracket? Like, is it going to be a rebounding battle? Is it going to be a defense battle? Is there going to be a big battle in the first round in that 8 versus 9? Is the quarters going to be war? Like, what are kind of your expectations / excitement that fans should look for?
Yeah, I honestly think that Division I playoffs it's awesome. I mean, you've seen a lot of upsets in Division I before. I can remember Dover beating Salem as a 16 or a 14-2 game. I remember we were at Londonderry and we got upset by Memorial. The playoffs it's such a different feel to it, right? Even when we had our state title team with Jackson and Nashua South and Josh Caruso was coming to our gym, we were nervous, right? We weren't undefeated. We lost to Dover, but we were number 1 in the state, and here comes Josh Caruso. Which was like, oh no. So I think as far as Division I playoffs, I think they're all great games. I don't think there's going to be many blowouts. When you look at, there's only 15 teams that make it. If you look at the top 15 teams, Nashua South just got Josh Tripp back, which is gigantic for Nashua South. Josh Tripp is a great player. And, right now I think they're 5-7 or something like that, but they're going to be a lower seed and they just got one of their best players back. So I think anyone can beat anybody on any given night, and that's the great thing about Division I basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I remember, to your point about Josh Caruso, I remember watching him. He's a terrific player. So I love the part about Division I being so deep right now. I know in like years past, sometimes there's a dominant team or two that seems to be better than everybody. You had the Pinkerton Bedford rivalry, but it looks really, really deep this year. So I think that's wicked exciting. So for you guys this year, for the group that you have, like, I know I talked about like kind of the product that you want to see out there on the floor and kind of experience success that way. What would you say looks like a successful season for you, whether it's, we championship or bust, or like we're just trying to get ourselves to kind of more established back to that Astro basketball that we had a couple of years ago? We were in Durham winning a championship and just trying to get back to rebuilding that culture, whether it's Final Four or just the way you play.
Yeah, I think, being at Pinkerton, your goal is always to get to Durham and have a chance to win a state championship. I think that's our goal. That's the kids' goals. That's what they want to do. They want to get to Durham because there's nothing like playing. I played at Durham, coached at Durham. There's nothing like a championship game at UNH. And I'll never forget playing there. I'll never forget coaching there. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for these kids. And again, there's only one game there now. Back in the day, there used to be 3. So now it's, even less of a chance of you performing there and in front of 5,000 people, whatever it is, how many ever it holds. And it's an experience like no other. That's for sure. So, being at Pinkerton, being at one of the largest schools in the state, I think Durham is our goal every year. No matter what our talent is, that's the goal in the beginning of the year. And then as we move forward throughout the year, it's a process and trusting the process and getting better each day. I told the kids after we lost to Bedford, the goal isn't to be good right now. The goal is to be good in March. So, I think they're preparing themselves for that. And again, that goes a lot to our captains, Wilson Youssef, Brady Sullivan, and Ryan Bonilla. They've been awesome. They've been phenomenal for us as far as leaders and, showing by example, and not only by example, but, and then as far as being a leader in the locker room as well. So that's huge.
Great. That's all great information, Coach. If you have anything additional that you'd like to add on your team, let me know.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I love these kids, having the football players, Spellman and Ingraham, they bring a lot of comedic relief to practice. They play so hard. A lot of the kids that have bought into their roles, and that's really what I love. I read a quote where it's star on the role you have and work for the role you want. And I think some of my kids are doing that right now. And it's been a fun year, that's for sure.
I love that. That's a great thing that people could put up on the wall. I think if they're coaches or players, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then finally, while I have you here, I had to ask, do you have any Super Bowl predictions for this weekend?
Oh, let's go Pats, baby.
All right. I think it should be a fun game. I'm obviously hoping they're able to win it, but I'm thinking it's going to be like in the 20s, a good defensive game there, and hopefully it'll be tight and competitive, and the Patriots win most of all.
Right. Well, I just can't believe they're already back in the Super Bowl. It's awesome.
All right. It's great. So, all right, Coach, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, Drew, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Please subscribe to the channel and like the video to help me expand my local sports coverage. Thank you.